Well, hello, Donald's Creek, and welcome to day 28 of 31 days. Proverbs, you're almost there. Congratulations. We are in Proverbs chapter 28 today. A couple of observations that I want to make before we get to our Win, Place, and Show and three things. The first thing that I want to look here is that this whole chapter is a good, hard look at right and wrong. As you go through, there's very few of these proverbs that do not deal with right and wrong. Most of these proverbs the verses in one way or another deal with right and wrong in our personal lives, with others, with leadership, within our families, within our wealth. I mean, I was just looking through, and even though there are a variety of subjects like the previous chapter, a few less, but there's still quite a plethora of topics that are covered. They are dealt with on the basis of right and wrong, and pretty convincingly, pretty good. Like it. What about Win, Place, and Show? Wickedness versus righteousness, the wicked versus the righteous, variation of that, appeared the most. Money appeared in the place. I didn't put the verses today. I had them. I had them written down, but some of these, so many of these, could appear in more than one category. So. Again, to remind you, the reason I do Win, Place, and Show is to show you, to explain the variety of topics that are shown throughout the Proverbs, and that you should be looking out for them. But many of these, not so much leadership, but the money one, there were quite a number of them that did appear in money category and another category. Okay, what about our three things? Today we have a really good three things. Well, isn't every day three things good? I think there's a proverb in here about someone patting themselves on the back in today's chapter, even. So you should have thrown that at me. 28:2. When a land transgresses, it has many rulers, but with a man of understanding and knowledge, its stability will long continue. How do we deal with that? Let's look at the amplified version. When a land does wrong, it has many princes, but when the ruler is a man of understanding and knowledge, its stability endures. So, in my quick study of this, many of the people that I looked at pointed to the northern kingdom, which would have been a substantial time after Solomon. Here, I'll show you a list here. Now, I want to remind you, let me go back. Let me remind you of yesterday, or might have been day before's history lesson, that there came a time you had here let me change my pen to red. I think you can see red better in here. Up here at the top, I'm up here at this tree. You had the kings of Israel, kings of Judah, just the kings. The first three, Saul, David, and Solomon, were all under what we call can I write here? A united kingdom. These guys here. And there came a civil war. We've had this lesson the other day, but I wanted to remind you because it's relevant to this. There came this civil war where there was the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, and Judah was in the south, and the rest of the tribes were, aside from a small tribe of Benjamin, were in the north. So we'll put 10 tribes here, south, Judah. And they both had their own king. So Judah had a king and Israel had a king. If that makes sense to you. Okay, so what happened here? When we're talking about think of the northern kingdom, the northern kingdom was taken into captivity rather quickly compared to the southern kingdom. Both were exiled. Both were led into battle and ultimately defeated, and then they carted these people away to another land. Let's look here. Let me erase this. Okay. I didn't want to do that. Okay, let's get back to our pen. These here are the northern kings: Jeroboam, Nadab, Baasha, Elah, Zimri, Omri, so on and so forth. The problem with these is bad, 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 bad. And when I say bad, I mean evil. Bad, evil, evil, evil. That's the biblical description. And why were they evil? Well, they allowed false religion, the worship of idols, just a lot of evil. Very, very evil. This Ahab was really bad. He was super bad. Here you have the kings of the north, which there was a mixture. Some good, some bad. Some good, some bad. The only two that were spoken of as being decent, as you have Jehu and Joram, these two cats right here. Joram actually was just labeled as somewhat evil. That was in 2 Kings chapter 3. A number of years ago, I did a little spreadsheet of the king, the prophet associated with the king, and if they were good or bad. I was looking at my list here. This is an older list. And all of them, aside from those two, there was one king that didn't get listed as good or bad in Scripture. It's because his reign was so short. He wasn't on the throne very long. But all of these cats, every single one of them, bad, 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 bad. It's just bad to worse. So you look at our passage. When a land does wrong, it has many princes, but when a ruler is a man of understanding and knowledge, stability ensures. The southern kingdom was stable, these kings listed in black here, for much longer, because they had a mixture of evil and good kings to lead the people. And when I say good, I don't mean they helped little ladies across the street. They were loyal to the Lord. They were faithful to the Lord. And that has a lot to do with wisdom. Has everything to do with wisdom. Okay, thing number 2. 28:23. Let me pull it up here on my screen. Correct me if when I'm wrong, because I will be wrong. I joke a lot. I tend to joke a lot. I'll say, if I make a mistake, I'll say things like, "Oh, first time I've been wrong this year. It's October." I believe the best position is to be in a learning position. Whoever rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue. What does the NIV say? Whoever rebukes a person will in the end gain favor rather than one who has a flattering tongue. Both of those are easy to understand, but it does not designate the man. Whoever rebukes a man, well, depends on who it is, because you correct some people, some women, some men, and you will get your head verbally knocked off your shoulders. They don't like to be corrected. How about you honk your horn at somebody when when they're at the light a little too long, or when they are in error and you're trying to get their attention, and tell me if they don't tell you you're number one. This happens. People don't like to be corrected, but a wise person does. Please, dear friends, be humble, be wise, be open to correction. If you're not, pray for it. So often the first thing that we do when people correct us is we get defensive. And I can fall into that category. I like to think of myself as a thoughtful person, and this again is not me stretching around trying to pat my own back. The Lord, this is of the Lord. It ain't of me. I will confess that freely. It is not of me. I welcome. That's why I read. I don't just read because it's my job. I read because I genuinely want to be better. I want to be a better leader. I want to be a better son to my father. I want to grow. I really do. So who is this? Whoever rebukes a man in the ESV, NIV, whoever rebukes a person. The Amplified, whoever appropriately reprimands a wise man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with the tongue. Probably going to convert some of you to look into the Amplified version, aren't I? Sometimes it helps, especially with these the wisdom literature. It does. It definitely helps with the wisdom literature. It helps with other things too, but it comes in very, very handy tool with the wisdom literature. Wisdom literature, Psalms, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. Okay, let's. I want to encourage you. Keep reading. Keep reading. Keep studying. Thing number 3 about giving to the poor. I do not recall, but it was within the past few chapters, might have been a week ago, that we had an instance where we had a proverb about the poor. And I said up there, it's on this side, up there I have a book that deals with this. It's actually a seminar that I had a chance to attend a number of years ago, about this time of year. I think it was October of maybe 20 or 19 or 21. The book, and I got it out because it says it here. Let me read the proverb, number 27, verse 27. Whoever gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse. Okay, what is NIV? Those who give to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them will receive many curses. So there's a great burden upon believers to be generous, and we should. Absolutely. We should be givers, even cheerful givers. The Lord gives us a goal. Our goal is 10%. I think of one pastor, and I use that loosely. He's very influential. He's grown a mega church in California, and I don't want to say his name. But he wrote a book, and the book was huge, successful, just mind-blowingly successful back in the aughts, 01, 02, 03, somewhere in there. He wrote this book, and it was just a huge bestseller. He reverse tithed. He kept 10% and gave 90. He said, I got all that. I don't know what, I don't need this. Even with the 10% that he kept, it's more than he can, imagine. I don't really endorse his preaching. I don't think it's heretical. I think it's dangerous. I don't think he's in heresy. There's a difference. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's accurate, his preaching. But that example blows me away. I cannot commend that enough. Not only does he give cheerfully, he's not doing this to pat himself on the back. He genuinely, cheerfully added up every penny. He had been preaching at this church, I think, for 15, 16, 17 years. He added up every penny that they paid him, and he paid it back. Not only did he reverse tithe, he paid back every penny that they paid him. And he doesn't take a salary now because the Lord blessed him with this money. He's a cheerful giver. That's when I digress. I get off the main track here. But we are encouraged as believers to be generous, and we should be. Absolutely. We should be generous. A tithe, 10%, is a goal. It's not commanded in the New Testament. I think it's a starting place. The tithe was introduced before the that's from creation. That goes back long ago, long before the Pentateuch. There was this tithe with Abraham giving to Melchizedek. So this is tied pre-commandment. I think it goes past the commandment. But what about these people who are on the street? They're skinny. They're disheveled. They need a shower. They need a bath. They need grooming. They need clothes. And we pull up and we're at the light or we're at the stop sign, and, my kids need formula. My word, have you seen the price of formula? Good grief. I was at Kroger the other day. I think I would need to beg for formula money. It's $50 for some of those cans of formula. I digress once again. But anyway, they're out there. My kids need food. I need food. We need a place to stay tonight, et cetera, et cetera. And it pulls at our heartstrings. I have even said in my past, I've even motivated myself. I know that these people are going to use this money for drugs and alcohol. They have a drug and alcohol problem. They will probably eat. And I have even motivated myself in the past and said, Jesus said, give to the poor. This proverb says, give to the poor, Proverb 27. It doesn't say, ask them what they're going to do with it. It says, just give and let the chips fall where they may. And you can continue to do that. That's if you want. If you want, that's fine. There's still times that I throw $1 out or $5 or whatever I have. In this digital age, I typically don't have a lot of cash. I like those end-timers who's talking about the cashless society. That's one thing I would like. Yeah. I don't want digital currency. I'm digressing again. I don't want the digital currency where they track everything that I spend, meaning they can pull it from me and keep me from spending it if I don't line up with their government ideas. But as far as not having to carry around nickels, dimes, and quarters and dollar bills, that Apple Pay is really handy. But when I have change, sometimes I still do give for whatever reason. I don't even know. Just kind of follow the moment. But this book here was what I was talking about. When Helping Hurts by Corbett and Fickert. When Helping Hurts. Pretty good book. It's an excellent book. And it not only deals with this issue of giving to the poor that are on the street corner, at the stop sign, and at the red light. It deals with how to help disaster relief, that quite possibly the churches, and I put in quotation the church because usually it's an ecumenical effort. Ecumenical meaning, so it's the Baptists, the Church of the Brethren, it's the Presbyterians, it's the Lutherans, all getting together. And sometimes a specific denomination will have disaster relief. I know that that's a thing too. But sometimes denominations will get together and help with a hurricane or a flood or fire or whatever the case. Great. I mean, I'm not being critical of those, and they're not critical of that effort either. But they said maybe we should rethink even that there's more effective ways of providing aid. We're talking about long-term benefit, not just patching something. But oftentimes, most of the time, the beggar on the street doesn't need money. They have money. Most of them have a lot of money. What they don't lack is money, but what they do lack are relationships. They have, because of their current circumstance, have broken relationships with God, with their family, with themselves. They are broken. And their contention, I can't summarize how many 300 page book, 257 pages there close to the end. It's hard to summarize a 250 page book in just a few minutes, but it's a really good book, easy read. It's a very easy read. You think about Jesus, he didn't heal every person. That's not, I don't think, in here. That was one of the observations I had. He didn't heal every single person that he encountered. In fact, sometimes he would just leave villages behind. And this is the person, the one thing who could take care of all that for everyone. He fed people, but he didn't feed everybody. And he was able to work miracles. So when you think of it in that light, it puts some perspective on it. That sometimes giving $1 to that person on the street corner hurts more than it helps. And you have to look at, what is our end goal? Is it helping or hurting? I am not here to persuade you not to do that anymore. I am not here to dissuade that. I am not here to criticize, because I just told you I still on occasion will do it. But this book has certainly helped me change my perspective on this. How do we deal with this here in Proverbs in light of this? I think he's addressing an attitude. He's not addressing that person on the street corner that has a substance abuse problem, that has a life full of broken people. When I say broken people, I mean broken relationships. There's a lot of things that went wrong that $1 bill is not going to fix. And that there are better established, I'm talking about established, not that you have to start something up. There are already things in most places, not every place, certainly in Springfield and Ohio and Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, you have already established things in place that you can be a part of that will accomplish what this book is saying we need to accomplish. We don't have to start it from scratch, is my point. That we're going to go up to the corner with a couch and say, lie down on my couch and let me sit over here in my chair and let's diagnose your relationship problems. Hello, go back to verse 23. Correct me if I'm wrong. People don't like to be told that they're wrong. and the couch and chair scenario will not help. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope that has been helpful. I hope that you have. I hope I've been a blessing to you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Thank you. Have a terrific rest of your day. How many times can I say God bless you before we go? The endings are always tough. But anyway, thanks for being with me. Have a wonderful day.